Welcome back, friends, to the shop. As you guys know, I live in the very epicenter of big Pacific Northwest logging country, surrounded by guys that are third, fourth, and fifth generation timber fallers and just access to all that incredible information. Down the road is our professional saw shop, and the guy down there maintains and builds out all of the pro saws for all of the pro fallers. And the last time I was down there, I asked him a question, and it was this. I said, if I was wanting to keep my power saw going in an end-of-time situation where I didn't have access maybe to supply lines or replacement parts, what critical parts should I have on hand to keep my saw going? Well, he thought about that for a minute and turned around and disappeared back into his shop and came back with 6 parts. The 6 parts that every man should have on hand to keep his power saw going. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. The first part he brought out was a replacement pull cord and start handle, and make sure you only buy the original steel factory ones. These are special. They're called actually an elasto start because you see right here they have a rubber, a really high quality rubber that stretches. When you're pull starting these big bore saws, you can about pull your arm out of joint, and then this little bit of cushion on there makes a tremendous difference. Everything's going to be the best quality, German made, the best rope. Don't skimp on this. Don't go to your big box store and buy some off-brand or generic. Stick with this one. You're not going to save very much, and you're going to have a factory part that's going to last you a long time. To be honest with you, I've never broke one of these, and my last saw that I just retired, my 441, I had for a decade, heavy use, and never did I replace it. But I do have an extra one on hand just in case, and that was number 1. The rest of the parts all fit inside this little mini tackle box. Side note, be sure you have the Torx wrench. It should come with the saw, but you'll need a torque wrench to remove this if you do break this in the field, so make sure you have that in your kit. Number 2, everything is basically over on the brake and the clutch side. On the drive side of your steel saws, you're going to have your sprocket, which runs your chain, and then your brake assembly, and everything is inside for the clutch. There's a little C-clip on here. You can pry this off with a screwdriver, and usually I put a rag on it and pop that up so it doesn't fly away on you. Once that clip is gone, and hopefully not lost, you can remove a washer, the sprocket, and the drive gear, and that will come out. Now there's 2 pieces inside of here that could be a potential problem. First are these springs. Now this is according to him. I've never lost one of these or broke one of these, but he brought 3 of them out, which I keep in my kit right here. So he gave me 3 springs. You're just talking, just a couple, pennies, a couple dollars to have these on hand. If you were to lose or to break one of these, you could easily fix that in the field. The third thing that he included and said you should have on hand is this caged bearing right there. Now this saw is reasonably new. It's a couple years old, and looking at it, it was completely dry when I took it off here. So that was kind of a note to me that this is probably something annually that you want to do, is to grease this guy. So let's do that right now. A little grease on there, no problem. And that's basically it. We can reinstall it just the way we had it. After the pull cord, cage bearing, and clutch springs, he recommended a guy keep on hand a pair of these rub blocks right here. I've actually lost several of these. They're a wear item, and as the chain is spinning around here, if it's loose or jumps, it's designed to protect this expensive case, and these will wear out and need to be replaced. Many times I've cleaned my saw to find that one of these was missing. They're both the same, I think, top and bottom. You can't get them wrong. They're keyed, so they can only go in one way. But that's a nice and easy thing to have in your kit. He brought out a couple of those. He said have those on hand. Make sure that if they wear, replace them so you don't destroy your case, because these could be hard to replace. After that, he recommended, and I'll attest to this, is an extra set of bar nuts. Goodness, I've lost bar nuts, and it's nothing more infuriating than to cut your trip short because you've lost a bar nut or can't find one. I have been on the wildland fire ground where people have taken this off to change chains or solve problems, laid them down, and can't find them again and don't have any more, and asking around for them. Very cheap insurance. I would really wish Stihl would retain these so that they can never be lost, that they're actually affixed in a way to the case cover. That should have been done a long time ago. I don't know why that's not the case, but until then, have a couple extra of these guys on hand. For pennies, it can save your whole trip. And then finally, the last thing, have an extra spark plug on hand. Our saws are 2-stroke. They run a mixture of gas and oil. They're notorious for fouling spark plugs. And once this plug is fouled, there's just no fixing it. And cheap insurance, a couple dollars, have this on hand, and you'll never have a problem. Once I got all my bits and pieces together, I just went to Amazon and got myself a little tiny 5-compartment tackle box and threw that in my wood cutting kit. I love to get information and little inside tips and tricks from guys that their whole life has been spent working with power saws. You know, you're not getting internet think so. This is a man that deals with professionals on a daily basis, and this is what he sees. This is what he sees from his lifetime experience. So this is very valuable information for us. Chainsaws may not be a priority tool or an essential tool for you, so this may not mean that much to you, but for a lot of us who want to be energy independent and heat our homes with wood, this is one of the most important tools that we own. And if we get in a situation where we can't get parts, we can't get pieces, which is starting to become more and more the norm, right now is a good time to spend $20-30 to have these pieces on hand when you can still get them and you're not going to have a problem. There's nothing more aggravating and frustrating and amateurish than to finally have a day to take off and to go up and away from your home and cut firewood, and to get up there and for lack of a 90-cent bar nut, you can't do anything and you have to come home unproductive. It just doesn't make any sense. So when on your critical tools, things that you really need on, that you count on for your day-to-day, for making your bread and butter, be thinking about that and what consumables may I potentially have need of that I can get now, so I have them on hand and it won't bite me later. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you haven't already, click the thumbs up. I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. Please keep us in your prayers. We pray for you constantly. May God be with you and your families, and we'll see you all on the next video.